the Honorable Minister read the regulations that were amended, and there were 7 amended from 2014. Now there are new provisions in the 7 regulations. And these 7 regulations, if I just give short highlights. For example, if you talk about a procuring and disposing entity regulations, a procuring and disposing entity is a ministry, is a local government, is a parastatal body of government that is handling the procurement process. And when we talk about the procurement process, we are talking right from the procurement planning, calling for bids, bidding, and the private bidders or contractors or providers participating in that process, and then they must be governed by these regulations. For example, in the old regulations, especially in local government, the officer, the head of procurement unit, was a secretary to the contracts committee. But these regulations are saying the head of procurement and disposal unit shall not be a secretary or member of the contracts committee. Because the contracts committee is a committee again established by the accounting officer of that entity, approved by permanent secretary, secretary treasurer or Minister of Finance, to advocate on all the procurement activities. But also, if the procurement unit submits an evaluation report to the contracts committee or anything, for decision making, these regulations have also put a cap on when they should make a decision. And this is the efficiency the Honorable Minister was talking about in the procurement process. 10 days, you must have made a decision. Otherwise, before the PDU, the procurement unit would submit, and the contracts committee, maybe they are on their own, the procurement takes forever, takes a month or 2 months without approving the evaluation process. But also in the procurement, we have provided due diligence. You have had companies which are not performing, companies which are briefcase companies. So in these regulations, we are also providing that the due diligence must be taken before a contract is signed. If you select a contract provider A, and you are going to sign, the accounting office is going to sign a contract, they must do a thorough due diligence on that company, on the information they have submitted, whether they will actually do that, implement that contract. I'll give you another example. For example, under the evaluation, there are also evaluation regulations. They were there. 2014 had evaluation regulations. Evaluation is assessing the bids that you have received. How do you evaluate? There is an evaluation criteria. But here we are regulating the lead times. Because you have also had that evaluation, you open bids now, 6 months down the road, 6 months down the road, a contract has not been awarded. The evaluation has not been completed. Before, the lead times for open international bidding, for example, was 110 days, working days. It was allowed. Now we are saying, if you evaluate, if you open bids and you are supposed to take a maximum, and we are talking about maximum, 60 days. Beyond 60 days, that procurement can be challenged in breach of this provision. But when you say 60 days, it doesn't mean you can take 5 days. That is the upper limit. For open domestic bidding, where we use open domestic bidding, it was 100 days. Now we are saying 45 days maximum. Restricted bidding, restricted international, they were 65. We are using lead times 35 days. This document I think will be shared. Pick these days. In terms of the contracting, We have also provided that the issues of environment, social, must be included in the contract. Those who are not there. There was also an initial advance payment when I was minister, that if you are procuring for government, you can't advance more than 30%. For example, you want to procure an aircraft, or a medical equipment, or an industrial machinery, where these manufacturers are saying, me, I need advance payment, everything before even I start manufacturing. Government was allowing only up to 30% with a guarantee. Now these regulations are saying, depending on case by case, you can even advance 100%. So that upper limit of 30% has been removed, and we are saying you can advance more than 30% after obtaining prior approval from the PSST, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.